G'day, Charlie here from Team G 4x4 to show you how you can extract the maps and log data that you've got stored in your SplitSecond R4 software. So let's go and quickly have a look at one of the files. This is for my Jeep supercharged Jeep JK 3.8, and this is some logging data that I've been using. So unfortunately, it's not the easiest to get data from here. I'm just going to go and select session 6. You're probably familiar with this interface already. And looking at this data, it's not always easy to take this back to your maps and then go and optimize your maps. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now you can actually copy the data from here. You click copy, and then you go to something like Excel and paste that back. And you'll see here, it's not very meaningful. Now, to be fair, SplitSecond software does actually have a PDF document talking about how you can go and edit this or apply formulas to this to actually get the data that you need. But I've taken a lot of that hassle away with a tool I've written called r4analyzer. So let's go and have a look at that quickly. So just start by closing this because it's going to read the file and this file's already open. So let's go and close it before we read it. So I'm just going to hop on over to a browser and we're going to go to github.com chillmanau, that's my handle, and the R4 analyzer tool. And you'll see here it talks about the features, how you can get the data out into CSV files, so you can open them in Excel or a SQLite database, and then to some of the functions. So just to be clear, in my particular scenario, the timing retard is, map A is timing retard and map B is the milliseconds of auxiliary injector time firing into my supercharger, and aux C is the air to fuel ratio that I'm seeing in my wideband. So what you would do is you come here, download zip. You can see I've already downloaded one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of that zip file and grab some of those files out. So we're going to go to this directory in that zip file called binaries because that's where the application is. But if you want to see how it actually works, or if you want to modify it yourself, the source code's there, and you're more than welcome to do that. If you'd like to see some changes or new features, my email address is available in my GitHub profile, and you can contact me, and I'll certainly have a look at how doable your request is. So let's just jump over to that zip file that we just downloaded. We'll go in there and we're just going to select binaries, right click and choose copy, and then we're going to come back to the desktop, right click and choose paste, and that's just going to take it out of that zip file for us. We're going to navigate down into the binaries and we're going to look for the R4 application. Now there's a lot of files that come with this to help it run, but the one that we want is the application file, R4 analyzer. We're going to open that. Now Microsoft Defender is preventing it from running because it's never seen it before and it's not digitally signed. You can run this through tools like VirusTotal or any AV scanner. I can show you there's no viruses on there. Just click on more info and say run anyway. Let me just, now we go back and we'll go and open that file again, and we'll open it, click open, and you'll see as it's running, it's showing this counter here where it's actually importing the records, and it'll say imported when it's finished, and then we can see those 6 sessions again. So I want session 6 because I had made some changes between those sessions to the air to fuel ratio and more specifically to the injector timing. So I want the latest data there. As I've said here in the comments, if you haven't made any changes to your maps between your recording sessions, then just choose all, otherwise choose the latest. So I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like when we export the data raw. So we can still get the data out raw. It's slightly different to the format that comes out. So let's say OK, that comes out of the R4 software itself. Let's head on back to the desktop. and we'll open this raw file. And let's have a look here. And as you can see, RPM it wasn't running. And then these are the actual field names that are inside of the R4 software itself. And it's all of the fields there. So you can scroll down, but fairly meaningless unless you know how to decode that. And that's the point of this R4 software. So let's go ahead and close that and get back to the software. Now we want to convert it, the data from the raw, so the logic in this application converts it for you. Click on export, and we don't want all the records because we saw there was records there when the engine wasn't running. And for me, I only want it when my auxiliary injector is firing because that's what I'm trying to tune. That's the part of I'm relying on the base engine tune outside of boost, and when it's under boost, then I'm relying on the injector firing. So by choosing this, I know it's when the boost running. So let me export that now, and you can see it's written 1827 records. We'll just jump over here, and you'll see it's the name of the original file, session 6 and .converted. So let's go and open that. And here you can see it's a lot more readable. You can see the RPM, the boost in PSI, injector A, which is degrees of timing retard in my case, injector B, which is the additional injector, and then the air to fuel ratio from my wideband. And you'll see there's a lot of information there to work through, and probably not that helpful. This is helpful, and I'll prepare another video on doing statistical analysis on working out your fuel ratios. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to be a mathematician. There's a great piece of software that I'll be using to demonstrate that quite easily, and it does it in a very visual manner. So let's go ahead and close that. We'll go back to the software. Let's go and round those to RPM and boost. And what that's going to do is round the RPM to the nearest 500 and the boost to the nearest half pound of boost. So let's hit export. Those 1827 records written again. Let's open those. And now we can see it's a lot neater, it's rounded, and these match the values that are in the map A and map B. So it just means I can go straight back to my tune, but it's still all over the place a little bit. So what I'm going to do is run the R4 analyzer one last time, and I'm going to say summarize with counts. So let's run that. It's only 91 records because we're summarizing it and we're counting the number of times that's occurred. So let's open that. And here we go. We can see it'll show you the number of times something's occurred. So you can see here 2000 RPM, 2500 RPM, half a pound of boost, 0.7 milliseconds injector opening. That occurred 38 times and gave us an air to fuel ratio of 14.2. So that's really good to know. You'll see that it jumps around a bit and you'll get different values here, and that's because you're transitioning from when you put foot to the floor and it's enriching the mixture, or where you've come off the accelerator and it's shut the fuel and it's running a bit lean. So that's why you're going to get some of these in the transition zones. And that's why you want to go for the big numbers, because that's where that fuel ratio is being seen for a given amount of boost and injector pulse width. Now, one last feature I want to quickly show, and that is the summarize with counts. But what we're going to do is we're going to sort it by the boost. So this will be our last run. Export, 91 records written. Let's go back here. Open it. Whoops, too much. And there we go. So we can scroll down here and you can see 4000 RPM, 5.5 pounds of boost, 1.6 millisecond opening, and I'm seeing 12. So that's a bit lean for that amount of boost, but you can see at the 3,500, 5 pounds of boost, 11.5. So that's getting close. I might want to increase this value to 1.7, but then these values here, I might want to increase it to 1.8, 1.9, really get them down into the 11s under boost. But that'll really depend on your vehicle and what you're targeting. But you should be targeting somewhere in the low 12s or mid 11s, depending on the type of engine you're setting up, that you're running. So that's it. I hope you find the tool useful. And as I said, if there's any features you want to see added, hit me up via email and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.